The Sardinian Vespers was a popular uprising against the House of Savoy between 1793 and 1796. The 28th of April 1794 is Sadi della Sardegna, il giorno della Sardegna, or the Day of the Sardinian People. This is now a national holiday in Sardinia and remembers a key period in the island's history. The French army attempted to invade Sardinia in 1793, an island ruled by the House of Savoy. When the Savoyard government demonstrated absolutely no interest in fortifying Sardinia in preparation for the imminent French invasion, the Sardinians self-organised a volunteer army using donated equipment. To learn more about La Bella Italia, consider subscribing. The French fleet arrived in the Gulf of Cagliari in 1793, expecting to begin negotiations for the terms of surrender. Instead, and to the French surprise, the French emissary was refused an audience and sent away. This triggered an immediate French naval bombardment of Cagliari, followed by landings at Marginerosso on the Quarto Sant'Elena coast. The French invasion failed due to a combination of bad luck, bad weather and poor planning. Some French troops became confused and fired upon another French unit. Eventually, the French abandoned their plan to attack Cagliari. To the north, a young Napoleon Bonaparte accompanied Corsican troops who also failed to make inroads. The tiny, outnumbered Sardinian group of defenders had seen off a mighty European power. King Vittorio Amedeo III of Savoy was expected to reward the Sardinians for seeing off the French invasion. The promised compensation never materialised, to popular outrage. Instead, heavy taxation, Piedmont corruption and economic issues further antagonised the population. Inspired by their victory against the French, a Sardinian delegation was dispatched to meet the Piedmont government and demand reform. The arbitrary rule of the Viceroy of Sardinia was at risk as the Sardinian delegation approached the Piedmont government directly, bypassing him. Viceroy Vincenzo Balbiano strongly opposed these Sardinian requests for reform and instead advised the king to bribe the Sardinian representatives. The Sardinians were divided between the reforms they were asking for: incremental reform or full equivalence with the mainland, the Kingdom of Piedmont for example. The Sardinian higher ranks of society and nobility wanted roles in the Sardinian administration. These had been denied to them in the past. The Savoy government refused all Sardinian requests. It rejected any notion that Sardinia had any legitimate authority beyond that of the Viceroy of Sardinia. The Viceroy got wind of a planned uprising in Cagliari, causing plans for revolt to be brought forward to the 28th and the 29th of April. On the 28th of April 1794, a group of soldiers were dispatched to arrest the lawyer Vincenzo Cabras on charges of sedition, along with Bernardo Pinto, who was mistaken for his brother Efisio. As the two captives were led back, there was a popular uprising. The people attacked the castle, and Sant' Agostino suffered an arson attack. The rioters entered the castle and disarmed the troops. The bells of Stampace, Marina, Villanova districts rang out. As the rioters set the castle on fire, the military fired on the castle. The soldiers of Piedmont soon surrendered, as did the nearby Swiss garrison. The viceroy, Vincenzo Balbiano, was captured in the Archbishop's palace along with other high-ranking Piedmont officials. The new Sardinian government began to restore order. They restated their earlier demands to the Kingdom of Piedmont for reform, as well as a request for a general amnesty for all the people involved in the riot. The Sardinian government implemented an early form of representative democracy. They opened government assemblies to the public and published legislation. A new viceroy arrived, Filippo Vivalda di Castellino, along with the newly appointed General of Arms, Gavino Pagliaccio Marchese della Planargia. Girolamo Pizzolo, who played a leading role in the defence of Sardinia against the French, was greeted as a leading patriot of Sardinia. The Savoy king, Vittorio Amedeo III, appointed, without consultation, local people to key government roles, including Girolamo Pizzolo. Gavino Pagliaccio, Marquis of Planargia, remained General of Arms, and he refused to recognise the new Sardinian government. Giovanni Maria Angioy was a key reformer. Pizzolo and the Marquis della Planargia resisted any radical reform. Pizzolo convinced the people to accept the officials sent by the king. Pizzolo wanted power to be reserved for Sardinian aristocrats and landowners only, and rejected any form of democratic reform. Pizzolo and the Marquis quickly implemented a police state to crush any attempt at reform or unrest. The new viceroy, Vivalda, instead, was more supportive of the reformers. The General of Arms employed Piedmont and Sardinian soldiers, plus a regiment of nobles selected by Pizzolo. Girolamo Pizzolo quickly lost his popular support as the population increasingly rejected the feudal system. The minister Galli della Loggia from Turin, he ordered the General of Arms, the Marquis in Sardinia, to enforce the royal appointments with force if necessary. Conflict was now inevitable. The Marquis mobilised his regiments in the city. Any form of protest risked immediate arrest. The viceroy tried to reason with the General of Arms. Pagliaccio was determined to obey the king. A second uprising took place on the 6th of July 1795 and soon overwhelmed the troops of the General of Arms. Pizzolo soon surrendered to the viceroy's troops. He was soon killed by the crowd, led by Andrea de Lorenzo. The General of Arms, Gavino Pagliaccio, was arrested and killed soon after. The Sardinian authorities again tried to restore order and implement reform. The reformers set out to eradicate feudalism, which was disappearing across Europe, at least to some extent, in order to enable economic development in Sardinia. The viceroy named Giovanni Maria Angioy Alternos as substitute viceroy. Angioy plotted a number of political and social reforms, forcibly ending feudalism, but also giving compensation to feudal lords. These reforms eventually failed, and Angioy fled and eventually died in France. Long after 1796 and the fall of Angioy, others continued to seek and demand democratic and anti-feudal reforms. Numerous further revolts were to follow. The Sardinian Vespers was brought to an end by a treaty between France and Piedmont. Sardinia, as a result, remained under Savoyard control. The Sardinian People's Day, Il Giorno della Sardegna is a national holiday in Sardinia. Sardinian towns host festivals to recreate the events of the Sardinian Vespers and stage concerts.